Hi there, it's your old friend Tobias with another Troubadork non-commute show and a very, very bare minimum of technical free-for-all today, we hope. So here we are, once again in an undisclosed location in San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio where, the numbers are not our friends right now. So we're going to do what we need to do, hopefully. And I'll just say this, if you're going to have to go outside, mask up. It'll make me feel better about you. So, good. All right. Thursday, the last show of the week. And I have yet another of the completely and utterly randomized playlists. And if it wasn't randomized, I couldn't do this, could I? Probably not. So, it's been interesting. I have learned a lot. There is a new sign in the background. Yes, there are. That's the official disclaimer of the Troubadork show. I am not very good at this. I really should have had it out here more prominently. It's in the crawl, but the crawl goes by and you're paying attention to other things, so, you know. But we have ourselves another 4 songs completely randomized, which I will happily and cheerfully attempt to perform for you all. I did practice them. It's always a good idea to practice the songs you're going to perform before you actually perform them. That way, when you boof them up during the show, you can look back and say, well, it worked perfectly in rehearsal. What the heck's wrong with me? I often ask myself that very same question so many times. There we go. There's no real theme, although all of them are actually themed. There's a common thread that runs through them, and as you see it, you'll understand what I'm talking about, because I have been doing a lot, and I mean a lot, a great deal of Renaissance festivals in the last 20, 30, 20-something years, something like that. I started doing it. 1994 was the first one I participated in. I went to my first one a couple of years before that. So there's that. So we'll see how that goes. I'm just going to do a real quick mute, pause there. That way I can actually see the comments as they're coming in, because we're still having some technical free-for-all regarding the folks that are watching and whether or not they show up, their comments show up on this little chat thing over here. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It seems to be very strange. So, hey Mike, hey Kay, hey Chris, hey, a whole bunch of people. Look at you, Ruth. Yes, long ago, far away, way off in the vast wastelands of space known as Marin County, there was a forest. And in that forest there was a dry riverbed, and in that dry riverbed there was a Renaissance festival, except when it was raining. And then it was a wet riverbed. Very wet. Very wet indeed. So this is actually, the first song on the list is John Barleycorn, which I learned at the knee, literally, of the Jolly Beggar, Linda, Molly, Matthew, and Rory. And I have sung with all of them separately, and I have sung with them all together, and it's great fun. It is great fun, and I'm very happy to be able to do this song again. Kind of feels like I've achieved something, a little continuity. Well, that's the theory anyway. So I'm going to bring up the notes because, as once again the sign says, I am not very good at this. Let me bring up my notes here and make sure I can read them. John Barleycorn to the sea's gone down in a ship both bold and new. The thirsty to slake of Captain Drake and all his loyal crew, to venture brave through wind and wave, the Spaniard for to halt. And though he die of Spanish grape, he'll live as English malt. So we'll strike him down and we'll bind him round, and we'll serve him worse than that. We will grind his bones between two stones, and we'll bung him in a vat. Then we'll drink his health in nut brown ale, and we'll raise our tankards high. But before that he can live again, John Barleycorn must die. John Barleycorn's to the court and gone, all dressed in fine array, in pewter clad from toe to head, to win a lady gay. The poetry that he declaims will stand him in good stead, for the ladies there all do declare they love it more than bread. So we'll strike him down and we'll bind him round, and we'll serve him worse than that. We will grind his bones between two stones, and we'll bung him in a vat. Then we'll drink his health in nut brown ale, and we'll raise our glasses high. For before that he can live again, John Barleycorn must die. John Barleycorn's to the hangman gone, this tale I will unfold. For robbing honest Englishmen of the silver and their gold, in a grave unmarked by cross nor stone, John Barleycorn is lain, till the summer rains have come and gone, and he rises up again. It's still very messianic, isn't it? So we'll strike him down and we'll bind him round, and we'll serve him worse than that. We will grind his bones between two stones, and we'll bung him in a vat. Then we'll drink his health in nut brown ale, and we'll raise our tankards high. For before that he can live again, John Barleycorn must die. So we'll strike him down and we'll serve him worse than that. We will grind his bones and we'll bung him in a vat. Then we'll drink his health in nut brown ale, and we'll drain our glasses dry. For before that he can live again, John Barleycorn must die. Whew. I always liked doing that song. I always feel like when I'm doing that song I should have somebody sitting to my left or my right or in front of me with a little tambourine. But that's because that's Molly. And Molly is a lovely and wonderful human being. And she and her lovely wife, partner, live in New Zealand now. And one day this song will reach all the way across vast oceans. And she'll go, okay, kid can sing. There we go. And, oh my goodness, yes, a very black forest. And Mama Linda. It is actually Linda's fault that I got involved in the Renaissance festivals entirely, because when I had traveled to California to seek my fortune, and someone else had already found it, I got involved in other theater stuff. I got my degree in theater, and I was going to be an actor. And you could be an actor in New York and Los Angeles and San Francisco, and that was kind of it in the mid-'80s, as far as I knew, because we had no internet. We couldn't tell. We couldn't look things up. So I got involved in the various community theaters in the Bay Area, of which there were many and still are. And I got involved in the Marin Shakespeare Company in their production of Comedy of Errors. I played the constable. I had one line, I got the crap kicked out of me 3 times, and I darn near threw the lead into the moat. And it was a fun show for that. And Mama Linda was a docent at Presenters of the actually Living History Center at the time, the original Living History Center, from which we get the whole darn Renaissance Festival thing. And the way she presented it was so neat that I kind of wanted to get involved in that. And my friend Colette was involved in it, and she was a member of the guild known as the Sea Dogs, and that's how I started doing fairs. And I sang with the Sea Dogs for about 8 years, and then I did other stuff, and then I started doing magic because I wanted to do another show to do Faire. Delilah was not happy that you were not watching the show? I heard her kind of grumbling a little bit, yeah. But when I started to look at, okay, I still want to do Renaissance festivals, I just don't want to lose money hand over fist. But Hey, one of my Twitch peeps. How you doing, man? You are useless. I almost know what that means. I don't know exactly, but we'll work with it. And when I got in, I wanted to do a show, but everybody sings at the California fairs. Everybody sings at the California fairs. And I still do magic and comedy. And then so I started doing Tobias the Adequate, and that's when I brought the house down. A story which y'all will probably hear from me at some point during the run of these goofy little shows that I'm doing. Hey. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, eres una gran persona en España. Oh, muchas gracias, señor. Muchas gracias. Seriously, I remember I'm a performer, so my ego is incredibly fragile and I need a huge amount of validation. Keeping with the Renaissance Festival and California Renaissance Festival stuff, specifically, the next song is in fact one that was written by and performed by the world famous Poxy Boggards, primarily of Southern California, the drinking group with a singing problem, or as their sign says, fat men sing dirty songs. The other side of the sign says, trained monkeys hurl feces. Then one year, new sign showed up, it said, trained monkeys sing dirty songs. And the other side said, fat men hurl feces. That kind of gives you the idea of where they're at. So, about the title. The full title of the song is Long May the Burlap Wave. And the reason behind that is that burlap is a fairly inexpensive fabric which you can use to make quick and easy walls, blocks. You can just strap it up, you can suspend it overhead to give you shade, you can cover something that you don't want the customers to see. At one point, a garbage truck died in the middle of the fair site, and they covered it in burlap. And then they had a bunch of fair folks kind of clustered around it. I don't know why you can't see the Facebook Live. It should be Facebook Live / The Adequate. I know not why. And so they would say that this is a dead elephant or something like that. But burlap is like the wonder panacea of the Renaissance fair. This particular song is a wonderful song. I'm probably going to go high on it. And the biggest challenge is that there's this transition between D and B minor. A lot. And B minor is one of those, you can pretty much kill your hand doing it, or in my case, completely sprain my thumb, because I'm bracing like heck. So let's see what happens. Long may the burlap wave, it protects us again from the sun and the rain. The road into heaven is paved with burlap both coarse and fine. We cover our heads and linen our beds, much stronger than lace and much softer than twine. Majestic and proud, it advances in the air. Our great Savior burlap that ne'er leaves us bare, with colors both bold and pure. It blocks out the sun when it is well hung, and none shall escape its lure. For men sail across the sea, they fight mighty wars, sell their daughters for whores to be under its cover like me. Majestic and proud, our burlap doth wave, and when I am dead, hang an old sackcloth upon my poor grave, just fly in the sky. The material imperial, long may the burlap wave, long may the burlap wave. Excuse me. I only know how to sing the high part because I'm a tenor. Short neck, high pitch. It's a thing. The Poxy Boggards. I was actually very lucky. Once upon a time, a long time ago, when the Northern California Renaissance Fair was forced to vacate Black Point Forest and move to the lovely land of Vacaville, where people play ball, where people burst into flames because it was 120 degrees outside. The noblemen burst into flames left and right. Oh, we've lost Lord Burleigh. And I was just out of the Sea Dogs. I decided I needed some time to do something else, and I was kind of part-timing it with Living History Center, which became Presenters of the Past, which was having a traditional craft school booth in an area known as Jester's Grove. And off to the other side of the little path that leads down into Jester's Grove was an inn, and that was the Jester's Inn. And I was sitting there hanging out, and some folks from the Boggards were also hanging out there. Bob, that's that was Dr. Hieronymus. Gaffer, Tim Cadell. Peanut, Johnny Green, and I think one or two others. And at one point, they began to sing, and I tried to sing too, and they let me. Now, I gotta tell you, this is important, that they let me, because I was a Sea Dog, and I was working on songs in the, you've heard this term before if you've hung out with me, key of Steve, Steve being the Guildmaster, and also a lyric baritone whose range is right on either side of the I can sing this comfortably area. And we sang a number of songs, and then we sang their version of Drink Old England Dry, which I would heartily recommend that you go look up on the YouTubes after the show. It is a flaming boating accident of glorious musical wrongness. And we did it, and nobody died. And I think Johnny Breen said, well, that's what I call brutal harmony. It's like, yes! And for a brief shining moment, there was a group known as Brutal Harmony in the fair, and I was a member of it, and I feel kind of happy about that. And that's my happy story about singing with some of the guys from the Boggards. I thought I'd share that with y'all, because it just makes me smile. Now, we're gonna calm down a little bit. That's another thing I got to do is I got to calm down a little bit because let's be completely frank on this. It's way too darn easy for me to get all wound up with these songs. One of the problems I have, and BURLAP has a built-in rhythm. It's a... Assuming I can play the chords without killing myself. Once again, the disclaimer, I'm not very good at this. I have a tendency to speed up when I'm enthusiastic about a song, and that means the show's over in 10 minutes, and we don't want that. That's one of the reasons I talk so much, padding it out. Song number 3 is actually by a former Sea Dog, the mighty, mighty Quigley Finch, the force of nature, who has also made some songs as Sally Rover and the Surkin song. Not going to talk about it beyond mentioning the fact that it exists. This was one of the first songs I actually performed as the Troubadork show at Steampunk November up in northern Texas in November last year, and we'll see if the numbers are good enough that we can manage it. I'm cautiously optimistic, but we have a lot of people really have to come to their freaking senses before that happens. And I noticed as I've been performing this song that I have not been doing the words right. That, in folk music, is known as drift. I drifted like mad. So, there are no former Sea Dogs. It's true, the stains never really come out. But, recovering Sea Dogs? I don't know. This is Quigley's song, and I will happily sing it, and I will happily perform it for you, and hopefully I will sing it on tempo, and sing the right words. Quigley really is a marvelous guy. And I'm not just saying that because he's letting me sing a song. Oh, the name of the ship on which we sail is a jolly roving dog. The crew be bold and the boatswain's old, and we all do love a grog. was the toughest man, whatever sailed the seas. But one thing that finally laid him low, 'twas a nasty French disease. Oh, they sail the briny oceans on the jolly roving dog, and we will not rest upon our quest to find the captain's log. Oh, a year ago our captain died, old France had finally won. The first mate waited by his side for the setting of the sun, and the last words of the captain to the good crew of the Dog was that no one could ever take his place till they found the captain's log. Oh, we sail the briny oceans on the jolly roving Dog, and we will not rest upon our quest to find the captain's log. So we searched down in the scuppers and we searched up in the nests. For a time we held our spirits high with witty words and jests, but soon a gloom surrounded us just like a piece of fog. For no matter where we looked, we could not find the captain's log. Oh, we sail the briny oceans on the jolly roving Dog, and we will not rest upon our quest to find the captain's log. So at last we turned to the great big book that the captain brought to sea, in which he kept each day's events as written history. But nowhere could we find within that vast and mighty tome any hint to where the captain's log had chosen for to roam. Oh, we sail the briny oceans on the jolly roving Dog, and we will not rest upon our quest to find the captain's log. For the many logs that we have found, they all do look the same. But we never have found the piece of wood inscribed with the captain's name. Oh, we sail the briny oceans on the jolly roving Dog, and we will not rest upon our quest to find the captain's log. Once more we'll sail the briny oceans on the jolly roving Dog, and we will not rest upon our quest to find the captain's log. Yes, he wrote a great big long shaggy dog story that ends with a horrible pun. That's Quigley. That's my friend. He also happens to work for, and I've been meaning to mention it, but I can never remember what it's actually called. So I'm going to see if I can find out, because there's a restaurant that he works for called Creator. Creator is an entirely robot-created hamburger place. You too can order a hamburger made entirely by an incredibly complicated robot. Yes, you can if you're in San Francisco. Not only that, but when the pandemic struck, the makers of Creator leapt into action and built an airlock. So, when your order comes in, the robot makes the burger, puts it into a bag, puts it on a conveyor belt, and sends it to an airlock for the delivery person to extract and deliver to you. I mean, really, that's pretty freaking cool, isn't it? So this is a completely unsolicited plug for Creator, creator.rest in San Francisco. San Francisco's very first robot burger joint. Because my friend Quigley works there, and I want him to continue to be gainfully employed. Wouldn't you? Whew. All right, last song of the show has really been that long already? It is so hard to tell. I, for one, salute our new Roburger overlords. Well done, well done, well done. I like it. And the last song is a filk, and it is one that I have played several times during the course of these shows with varying degrees of success, and I still love it I think it's a great song. I think I just need to, once again, calm the heck down and maybe slow down and be more relaxed and laid back about it. So, I'm going to get comfy in the chair. Yeah, those are all the chords. So now I just have to put them in the right order and do the song. The song is, of course, also a general policy statement. So there's a lick that I've been working on, and so far I think it might be ahead on points, but I'm going to try it anyway. So let's see what happens. I did change the title. There's just a 15-second lag still. When I stream to Facebook, as we know, when I was streaming directly to Facebook, there was a 15-second lag, and now that I'm streaming to restream.io, there's a further lag, so it actually is like 30 seconds and some change. This is your semi-technical full-for-all, because it can't be a Tobias the Adequate Troubadork show without a few of those. I mean, hey, you know. I am not very good at this. Let me see here. Yeah, there we go. I got a camper, forget the price. Nowhere to park it, they tell me it's nice. I live in tents made with thin nylon walls. Someone has sex, well, it's enjoyed by all. They say I'm crazy, but I have a good time. I'm moving slow, but I'll reach notes by 9. Fair's been good to me so far. My costume's made up of burlap and cloth. Takes twice as long to put on than take off. My boots are old, not so quick to pull on, but I gotta wear them to go to the John. Don't know quite what I'll be doing today. The show goes on, so I just gotta play. Fair's been good to me so far. My hat's quite fancy with feathers and felt. Feels like my whole world's hung off my belt. Strap all this stuff on the go hit the gate. Yeah, the patrons are out there and man, I can't wait. Put a couple decades into burlap and dust. Gonna keep it going, well it looks like I must. Fair's been good to me so far. I do this Ren Fair every year. Beat up my body to get a few cheers. How long I'll do this darn thing I don't know, but if they're gonna hold it, well I guess I'll know. The play's a thing and we've all come to play. It's packing years into just a few days. Fair's been good to me so far. we come sliding in sideways on yet another Troubadork show here at the Non-Commute Show here at Tobias the Adequate Troubadork show here on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube from an undisclosed location in San Antonio, Texas, where I do my day job because they'd like to keep us kind of separated for a while until the numbers are better and I don't have to drive home. And since I didn't have to drive home, I figured I'd do something, and so I'm doing this show. This is the show, and you are welcome to it. I want to thank everybody who came to hang out with me today. Y'all are doing my tattered little performer's ego a world of good, to be completely honest with you. There's a lot of folks here. Some of y'all came in early, some of you came in later, and that is okay. We will just simply continue to do the thing, and I'm really happy that you were all here. Let's talk about a couple of things. We'll get the paperwork out of the way and do all this stuff. You know, if you've been here, you know what that looks like. First and foremost, of course, slide over to the side, tip jar. In the event you have disposable income and no sense whatsoever and want to make a one-time donation to the forces of adequacy and Troubadorkery. Oh, dear God, thank you, Michael. I will use that for the rest of my life. You can throw some cash over here at paypal.com/theadequate. As Robert and Rick and Emily and Miranda did, and I'm very grateful. Any money that goes into this tip jar or to the Patreon goes directly towards continuing to shore up the crumbling facade of this show. As a matter of fact, speaking of which, you can go to Patreon, patreon.com/theadequate, and you can actually commit to supporting adequacy on a long-term basis. You pledge like $1 or more per month, and just kind of rolls right in, and it goes towards things like this camera that we're using, the software that let me use my phone as a camera, the software that let me pull the cords out of BURLAP because they didn't put the cords in anything. No, clever Boggards. However, the Troubadork was slightly more clever and was willing to throw money at it until the problem was solved. And I want to thank Alicia and Relly and BK and Kaylee and Richard and John and Brian and Lorene for being my Party on Partytown Patreon patron people. Patreon people also get cool things. They get copies of the previews of the songs on the site. They get buttons. They get the ebooks. They get the Artisanal Gibberish book. They get all kinds of weird stuff. They get to tell me to play something. When I go through the rest of this randomly generated set list, some of my Patreon Patreon people get once a week get to tell me to play something. Or some of them even get to tell me to write something. Isn't that a terrifying prospect? You could actually get me to write you a song. I do not guarantee the quality, but there it is. All right, the shows are all archived over here at facebook.com/TobiasTheAdequate and youtube.com/MPLEGARE. The Adequate was already taken, so there it is. And actually, twitch.tv/TobiasTheAdequate keeps about 2 weeks worth of shows. And I'm beginning to get the hang of that one. I'm just kind of rolling through and getting some more Twitch stuff up. I have whopping four Twitch followers. That's an amazing idea. Because I'm me. I'm just some schmuck in a room somewhere banging away at a ukulele. I'm not even playing a bloody video game. So, hey, cool beans. I think that's everything, except, of course, that Carpe Diem Comics is the official emotional support comic shop of the Troubadork Show, of Tobias the Adequate, of anything else that seems like a good idea that I do. They are physically located in McKinney, Texas, and online they are at Carpe Diem Comics online, that's all one word, .square.site. Do support your local comic shops, do support your local craft stores, your local gaming hangouts, especially during this very strange and complicated time, because they are here only because you help them. I would say, honestly, if you have a chance, get yourself a gift certificate or gift card, because that's a present to your future self. It's a true story. I think that's about everything. That's it for this week. I will be doing more shows, of course, because, well, why wouldn't I? Next week, I've got another 4 randomly generated shows to put together. And we will continue forward in this manner until such time as either the internet breaks or we have the go to work seriously thing go on. Right now, as I said, the numbers aren't real good for Texas, and I think it's very likely we're going to see some more things get closed back down. Mostly because whether it's officially closed back down or just people going, no, I'm gonna stay inside. So because we don't pandemic well here, and I wish I could say something better about that. But I will say this to you: thank you for hanging out with me. Spread the word. I'm still not famous, or I'm very, very specifically famous. Two slightly different things. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And really, I don't have anything pithy to say at the end of this, so I will just, you know what? I'll say this. I appreciate y'all a great deal. Thank you for supporting my behavior. I should probably do the thing. Do a little graceful transition fade to black here. I mean, they kind of expect it of me. I got to fade to black, and if I had something clever to say in the fade to black part, I would definitely say it, but I don't, so I just have to kind of fluff for like a minute or so that the little cards that YouTube puts up at the end of the video show up here, and then people will like click on them and stuff. Okay, I think that's long enough. See you guys later. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next